I would like to explain Galatians 6, where it talks about sowing and reaping. It's very important that we understand what it is. I had a question about this, and I thought, let me quickly make a video explaining this. Right, Galatians 6 verse 7 says, "Be not deceived, God is not mocked, for whatsoever a man sow, that he shall also reap. For he that sowed to his flesh shall of the flesh reap corruption, but he that sows to the Spirit shall of the Spirit reap life everlasting." Now, very important here, just see that there's only two things you can reap, and that is either corruption or life everlasting. Context here is not money and how we're going to get money back from God when we gave money. Let me go back a bit here. In verse 6 it says, "Let him that is taught in word communicate unto him that teaches in all good things." So in other words, there is a teacher, and what he's saying here is that we should communicate, to be a partner with him in all good things. Now, that word communicate does talk in the Hebrew sense here, in the writing of Paul. If you go and study it out in other places in the Bible as well, it does have an implication of also contributing financially. But there's something much deeper in the word communicate here. Let's just look at it here according to Thayer definition. It says here, to come into communion or fellowship with, to become a sharer, be made a partner. That's what it says. To enter into fellowship, to join oneself to an associate. Make oneself a sharer or a partner. So it says here, make yourself an associate with the one that teaches you in all good things. Now I do believe, like I said, also means that you can give financially to the preacher. But like I said, there's something much deeper here. It's a matter of communion. Koinonia, because it's got the word koinonia as a root there. Let me see if I can find. Now, why does my King James Concordance doesn't want to show it? I don't know what's happening there. Let me just get the word again. Sorry about this. There it is. It's partakers. To be a partaker, communicate, distributing. So it does talk about finances as well, like you can see here. So to be a partaker of what the person preaches, and communicate, share with him as well. It's like being a supporter of a certain political party or of a certain football team. You will you'll be in communal fellowship with them, in believing in them, in shouting for them, in supporting them as well. And now it says here, and this is very important, "Be not deceived, God is not mocked, for whatsoever a man sow, that he shall also reap. For he that sows to his flesh." In other words, if the person, talking about giving here, giving to the point that you're going to get something, if you give yourself, if you give your finances, your life, whatever, to a person that is ministering the flesh message, you will of the flesh reap corruption, of that message and of your flesh, which will use that message being preached to bring corruption to you. Because the context of Galatians was people that fall back under Judaism, by the Judaizers telling these people to be circumcised again. Let's go back to Galatians 3 verse 1 and just have flesh and spirit defined. "O foolish Galatians, who has bewitched you that you should not obey the truth, before whose eyes Jesus Christ has been evidently set forth, crucified among you?" Now that word among is also the word in. You can also use it as the word in, at, by. So what he was saying is, Christ died your death for you. Amen. Now they want to go back to become Jews and circumcised, according to Jewish traditions. Now it says, "This only would I learn of you. Received ye the Spirit by the works of the law, because you circumcised yourself and obeyed all the Jewish customs, or by the hearing of faith? Are you so foolish, having begun in the Spirit, by the hearing of faith?" In other words, by belief. "Are you now made perfect by the flesh or the works of the law?" Amen. So it goes on here in verse 5. It says, He therefore that ministers to you the Spirit and works miracles among you, does he do it by the works of the law or by the hearing of faith? Even as Abraham believed God and it was counted to him for righteousness. So he goes on and explains to them, don't go back to the flesh, referring to the law message. Now, let's go back to Galatians 6 here again. This is what it says. Be not deceived, God is not mocked. In other words, if you want to be justified by a flesh, works, law-based message like circumcision and all the old law Jewish customs things, to be justified before God, rejecting Jesus, you are mocking God, and you will of the law reap death, of that which you believe. Then he says, of the flesh you will reap corruption. And this is I can't go into Romans 7 explaining this now. Right, so let us then make sure that when we give ourselves to a certain doctrine and to a certain man that preaches the gospel, that it is the correct message, because what we hear can kill us. And many of us can testify about this, where we have been under a message of condemnation and judgment, where it has destroyed our lives. And it wasn't the person that destroyed it, but what we believed that destroyed our lives. And then our flesh, our inability to meet those requirements, killed and destroyed us. So sowing and reaping is very simple. Give yourself, support the grace message, support the message of what Christ has done for you. Amen. And you will have life. Don't support the Judaizer, the person who comes and says, let's go back to the Jewish customs. That is the context of Galatians here. I hope this is clear for you all.